Hello, everyone. So, for this week's assignment, I am advocating for the usage of the thin client approach to software architecture. This is where most of the computing power is located on a server, while the client is only providing an interface to it. So, simply put, we are operating on a system whereby there is a centralized or consolidated server. So, an example that I thought of that could a current example that can properly utilize the thin client approach to software architecture is, let's talk of a public library like the Kansas City Library, which is a public space where anybody can access. So, being a public environment, let's say a student wants to do homework. So what the network is going to do, what the server side of this component is going to do is that the server side is going to query the database. There are many online databases that a student can access in a public library. So what the server side of this component is going to do is to query the database. And then number two, it is going to process the input that the student has keyed in, and then finally it is going to allow the student to access the files. This could be information they want to know on various databases, and the load of the network is very low. Also, in a public library, it's not high voltage usage of the network, so it's very low workload. And the advantages that come with the thin client approach that could be said to be very beneficial is the proper utilization of hardware resources. So this this includes like things like cabling. There's less cabling that is needed because everything is one location. So mobility, there's low mobility. Everything is under one roof. So the hardware is going to be properly utilized because everything is centralized. And then that also means that the software maintenance is going to be low because the server is consolidated. So things like security upgrades, data migration, or system application and administrations are very simplified because the server is consolidated. It is in one place. And then last week, remember, we talked about security and data privacy. So the thin architecture will is going to come in very handy because once the server is consolidated, it means that there is going to be less security vulnerabilities. So, if you want to control, to monitor, and to, let's say, do the system updates, it's not easy to corrupt the system. So, in terms of security vulnerabilities, it is it is secure than the thick one. And then everything here now boils down to cost effectiveness. Because of all these points that we have talked about, it makes it very cost effective for a public institutions. Public institutions, they come with funding issues. Money is always a problem. So in a situation whereby we are talking about like a public library, the Kansas City Public Library, it becomes cost effective because the system upgrades are centralized, security, less hardware requirements. So all that makes it cost effective for a public institution like a public library to choose using the thin approach over the other approaches. Thank you, guys.